A roller coaster ride of emotions, betrayal, jealousy, forgiveness, and ultimate reconciliation. The story of Joseph and his brothers. But how well do you remember the details? This video takes you on a journey through their lives, testing your knowledge with a fun and engaging quiz. From Joseph's colorful dreams to his rise to power in Egypt, we'll challenge your memory and see if you can navigate the twists and turns of this epic family drama. If you want to keep your Bible knowledge sharp and have some fun testing yourself each week, then hit that subscribe button. 1. What did Esau do with his family and possessions? Your options are: gave them away, settled in Canaan, moved to Seir, divided among sons. The answer is: moved to Seir. Esau took his family and possessions and moved to Seir, Genesis 36 verses 6 to 8. 2. What position did Zerah hold in the Edomite genealogy? Your options are: king, priest, leader, general. The answer is: leader. Zerah was one of the leaders of the Edomites, Genesis 36 verse 13. 3. How many kings ruled over Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites? Your options are: 5, 8, 10, 12. The answer is: 8. There were 8 kings who ruled in Edom before any king reigned over Israel, Genesis 36 verses 31 to 39. 4. Who was the father of Eliphaz's son Amalek? Your options are: Eliphaz, Esau, Reuel, Korah. The answer is: Eliphaz. Eliphaz was the father of Amalek, making Amalek Esau's grandson, Genesis 36 verse 12. 5. Who is the ancestor of the Edomites? Your options are: Jacob, Esau, Ishmael, Lot. The answer is: Esau. Esau is the ancestor of the Edomites, as mentioned in Genesis 36 verses 1 to 9. 6. What was the role of Esau's son Reuel? Your options are: priest, king, leader, general. The answer is: leader. Reuel was a leader among Esau's descendants, Genesis 36 verses 10 and 17. 7. What significant event happened in the life of Joseph? Your options are: he was crowned king, received colorful robe, he built an altar, he conquered a city. The answer is: received colorful robe. Joseph received a colorful robe from his father Jacob, which led to jealousy among his brothers, Genesis 37 verse 3. 8. How did Joseph's brothers initially plan to deal with him? Your options are: sell him as a slave, throw him into a well, kill him, make him a servant. The answer is kill him. Joseph's brothers initially planned to kill him out of jealousy. Genesis 37 verses 18 to 20. 9. How much did Joseph's brothers sell him for? Your options are 10 pieces of silver, 15 pieces of silver, 20 pieces of silver, 30 pieces of silver. The answer is 20 pieces of silver. Joseph was sold for 20 pieces of silver. Genesis 37 verse 28. 10. Who suggested selling Joseph instead of killing him? Your options are Reuben, Judah, Simeon, Levi. The answer is Judah. Judah suggested selling Joseph to the Ishmaelites instead of killing him. Genesis 37 verses 26 to 27. 11. Where was Joseph taken after being sold by his brothers? Your options are Babylon, Canaan, Egypt, Midian. The answer is Egypt. Joseph was taken to Egypt by the traders. Genesis 37 verse 28. 12. Who convinced Joseph's brothers not to kill him but to throw him into a cistern instead? Your options are Reuben, Judah, Simeon, Levi. The answer is Reuben. Reuben convinced his brothers not to kill Joseph but to throw him into a cistern. Genesis 37 verses 21 to 22. 13. What did Jacob believe happened to Joseph after seeing his bloody coat? Your options are he ran away, he was kidnapped, killed by a wild animal, he became a slave. The answer is killed by a wild animal. Jacob believed that Joseph had been killed by a wild animal. Genesis 37 verse 33. 14. How long did Jacob mourn for Joseph after believing he was dead? Your options are a week, a month, many days, a year. The answer is many days. Jacob mourned for Joseph for many days, refusing to be comforted. Genesis 37 verse 34. 15. To whom was Joseph sold in Egypt? Your options are Pharaoh, Potiphar, Laban, Jethro. The answer is Potiphar. Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Genesis 37 verse 36. 16. What position did Joseph hold in Potiphar's house? Your options are butler, cook, overseer, gardener. The answer is overseer. Joseph was made overseer of Potiphar's house due to his success and trustworthiness, Genesis 39 verse 4. 17. Why was Joseph imprisoned in Egypt? Your options are theft, adultery, false accusation, rebellion. The answer is false accusation. Joseph was falsely accused of trying to seduce Potiphar's wife and imprisoned, Genesis 39 verses 19 to 20. 18. Who were the two officials imprisoned with Joseph? Your options are butler and baker, cook and butler, baker and guard, guard and cook. The answer is butler and baker. The chief butler and chief baker were imprisoned with Joseph, Genesis 40 verses 1 to 3. 19. What was Joseph's interpretation of the butler's dream? Your options are death, promotion, imprisonment, freedom. The answer is promotion. Joseph interpreted the butler's dream to mean that he would be restored to his position, Genesis 40 verses 12 to 13. 20. What was Joseph's interpretation of the baker's dream? Your options are death, promotion, imprisonment, freedom. The answer is death. Joseph interpreted the baker's dream to mean that he would be executed, Genesis 40 verses 18 to 19. 21. Who bought Joseph from the Midianite traders? Your options are Potiphar, Pharaoh, Ishmaelites, Egyptians. The answer is Potiphar. Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, bought Joseph from the Midianite traders, Genesis 37 verse 36. 22. How did Joseph respond to Potiphar's wife's advances? Your options are he ignored her, he succumbed, he fled, he confronted her. The answer is he fled. Joseph fled from Potiphar's wife, rejecting her advances, Genesis 39 verse 12. 23. What did Potiphar's wife use to falsely accuse Joseph? Your options are his robe, his sandals, a letter, a witness. The answer is his robe. Potiphar's wife used Joseph's robe, which he left behind when fleeing, to falsely accuse him, Genesis 39 verses 16 to 18. 24. What did the chief baker dream about? Your options are birds eating bread, serving Pharaoh, baking cakes, planting grain. The answer is birds eating bread. The chief baker dreamed of birds eating bread from baskets on his head, Genesis 40 verses 16 to 17. 25. What happened to the chief butler after his dream was interpreted? Your options are: he was executed, he was promoted, he was freed, he was imprisoned. The answer is: he was freed. The chief butler was freed and restored to his position as Joseph had interpreted, Genesis 40 verse 21. 26. What did the chief butler do after being restored to his position? Your options are: forgot Joseph, thanked Joseph, helped Joseph, freed Joseph. The answer is: forgot Joseph. The chief butler forgot about Joseph despite his promise to remember him, Genesis 40 verse 23. 27. What position did Potiphar hold in Egypt? Your options are: Pharaoh's advisor, chief baker, captain of the guard, high priest. The answer is: captain of the guard. Potiphar was the captain of the guard under Pharaoh in Egypt, Genesis 39 verse 1. 28. What did Joseph's brothers do with him before selling him to the traders? Your options are: hid him, threw him into a cistern, took him home, tied him up. The answer is: threw him into a cistern. Joseph's brothers threw him into a cistern before selling him to the traders, Genesis 37 verse 24. 29. What was Pharaoh's reaction to the dreams of the butler and baker being interpreted? Your options are: anger, joy, curiosity, indifference. The answer is: curiosity. Pharaoh was curious and wanted to hear about the dreams and their interpretations, Genesis 40 verse 20. 30. What was Potiphar's wife's accusation against Joseph? Your options are: theft, disobedience, laziness, attempted rape. The answer is: attempted rape. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of attempted rape, Genesis 39 verses 17 to 18. 31. What did Joseph do in response to his brother's jealousy? Your options are: confronted them, ignored them, told his father, continued being faithful. The answer is: continued being faithful. Joseph continued to be faithful and obedient despite his brother's jealousy, Genesis 37 verse 13. 32. What was the fate of the chief baker as predicted by Joseph? Your options are: freedom, continued imprisonment, death, exile. The answer is: death. The chief baker was hanged, as Joseph predicted, Genesis 40 verse 22. 33. Who did the butler serve in his dream? Your options are: himself, the Pharaoh, his family, his friends. The answer is the Pharaoh. The butler served the Pharaoh in his dream, squeezing grapes into Pharaoh's cup, Genesis 40 verse 11. 34. What did Pharaoh's officials' dreams indicate about their future? Your options are: imprisonment, death and restoration, wealth, poverty. The answer is death and restoration. The dreams indicated that one would be restored to his position and the other would be executed, Genesis 40 verses 21 to 22. 35. What relationship did Joseph have with his fellow prisoners? Your options are: hostile, friendly, neutral, secretive. The answer is friendly. Joseph had a friendly relationship with his fellow prisoners, showing concern for them, Genesis 40 verse 7. 36. What did Joseph request from the butler after interpreting his dream? Your options are: freedom, food, help, memory. The answer is memory. Joseph requested the butler to remember him and mention him to Pharaoh, Genesis 40 verse 14.